Hi, this is Eric Martin of BoardGameGeek News. I'm here looking at Gravwell, Escape from the Ninth Dimension by Corey Young and Cryptozoic Entertainment. And despite the title, you're not actually escaping from a ninth dimension or eighth or any other type of dimension like that. It's more of a race game where you're trying to get out of a gravity well. There is the gravity well, although it's just a space on the board. And you try to get to the end of the path and get out a warp gate and escape and win. And you don't care what happens to anyone else. You know, if you get out of the gate, that's all good. They get crushed into a single dot of matter, but they'll all be together, so at least they won't be alone. Here's the setup for a 4-player game of Gravwell. You've got 4 ships at the center in the singularity. Oh no, we're all gonna be crushed. We're gonna be squished to smithereens. Okay. And we've got 2 derelict ships that are floating out in space, somehow immune to the effects of the singularity. Okay, contrary to real physics, you can escape from the singularity. You are not stuck there forever. You've got some awesome anti-grav navigation type thing. And you are trying to escape along this path. Now, how you do this is through the use of movement cards. And movement's tricky in this game because you can think of this being home and this being the exit. And of course you want to move along the path towards the exit and escape. But it becomes difficult if you think of movement being forward and backward, because that's not how movement works in this game. You have green cards, and what these cards do is move you toward the object that is closest to you. Okay? When you're all in the heart of the singularity here, you can ignore everyone else. They're considered, essentially in the same spot because it's a singularity. So they're not distant from you, okay? So if I played this movement card here, the look along the path, the closest thing to me is this derelict ship, I would move 8 spaces, okay? If other people move, right now I'm the closest ship, so they're gonna move towards me. However, if the situation were like this, and I played a movement card, a green movement card, the closest object to me is actually red guy here, and I'm going to move 5 spaces towards red guy because his gravity is going to pull me towards him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can't land on another ship. If you would, you just hop over and land on the next space. Ah, that's not good. Now I'm going backwards. Well, that's kind of the point of the game, is you have to negotiate how you're moving. Most of the movement cards are the green move towards the object closest to you, not forward, okay? And there is a chart here on the board which shows from A to Z the approximate range of numbers. The higher the bar, the bigger the numbers. Well, you notice a couple of other colors here. There are purple cards for those, and those move you away from the closest object, okay? That can be good and that can be bad as well. If I played a purple card now, closest object to me is Mr. Red. Oh, I'm going closer. Hey guys, I'm back in the singularity. All right. In addition, there are 2 other cards, and what these 2 do is they suck everything closer to you, right? You turn on a special gravity-inducing device, and everything gets pulled towards you, which again is good and bad. It messes up everyone else, and possibly sets you up for future turns. So, how do you get these cards? Gravwell lasts 6 rounds, and at the start of each round, players draft cards that they will play during the round. You lay out cards in stacks. You have 3 stacks for each player, dealt out at random, with a face-down card and a face-up card. So this is a 4-player layout, so this would be a 3-player layout, and a 2-player layout would have only 6 stacks. All the other cards are not used. Players take turns drafting cards from whoever is closest to the singularity and then spiraling outwards. So one player may take this, another takes this, one takes this, I take this. And as you draft the cards, you get to look and see what's on the other side, so you can then determine what else you want to draft for the rest of the round. For an example of movement in Gravwell, let's look at an in-game situation where we are in the 3rd round. Each of us has just drafted our cards, and each of us secretly chooses a card from our hand. We put them down and reveal them simultaneously to determine who moves when. How we do that is we look at the letters on the card and we go alphabetically from A to Z. Okay, so you get an idea of who's moving when based on what you're drafting, then that gives decisions on how you want to draft things and so on based on the possibilities. All right, so in this case, let's say we had the red player, Argon, 1. It goes first, but it's pretty weak. All right, blue is the closest ship to red, so he's actually going to move 1 space in this direction. Okay. C, me, that's next, is yellow. I move 3 with carbon, 1, 2, 3, and you keep moving if you would land on something, so no one shares a space. Next, we have the black ship, Krypton, and he moves 2 away from the closest ship. Ooh, that works out well. Yellow is closer than the derelict ship, goes 2 away. We have an interesting situation here, with blue being equidistant from yellow and red. Blue has played a green card, which means you should move towards the closest object, but which way to go? How you resolve this situation is you compare how many ships are in front or towards the exit relative to that ship. 1, 2, 3. There are 2 behind. Ooh, blue gets to go towards the exit. And follow the numbers on the card. 2, 7, 9. All right, and that was 1 round of play. So that's the basics of Gravwell, where you play 6 rounds, you draft cards at the start of the round, you move your ships by playing cards simultaneously, determining who moves where and moving all of them around. And once you're out of cards, you start a new round. Okay? If someone escapes through the warp gate, they land on it or would go past it before the 6 rounds are up, that player wins. If not, at the end of 6 rounds, whoever is closest to the warp gate wins. Okay, that's all. So there's some tricky movement based on who's doing what, because of course you're playing cards, you don't know what other people are seeing or playing. You've seen half their cards when they were drafting. You know, good luck memorizing that. I've played this 4 times now, all with 3 or 4 players. There's a review copy from Cryptozoic, so thanks for that. And there's a lot of stuff where potentially you could remember what everyone is doing, remember what they've drafted and what they've played and this and that. I'm not paying that close attention to figure out what all they're doing. One thing I haven't mentioned is that each round, each player has an emergency stop card, and you can use this to not use your card. Okay, you've input a movement order, and everyone reveals their stuff, and then you look and you're like, I would be completely hosed, I'm flying backwards, I don't know what I'm doing, doesn't even work. Or of course you can not move to mess up everyone else if you would be going first and then aiding them instead of them, you know, flying backwards and doing all sorts of stuff. So you can use that once each round. At the end of the round, it flips back up again. One odd thing about Gravwell is that you cannot escape on your own, although you must try to escape on your own, because if you get far along the path and there's no one else around you at all, well, everyone is around you, right? And they're just going to be pulling at your butt, dragging you back as you try to escape. There's no way to just live on purple cards and be able to push away from them and make your way out. So you're kind of entangled with other people trying to go for that exit and dancing with them and get a little bit ahead and see what they're trying to do and make your way out. The derelict ships help pull you along, and they provide some, you know, weird interaction in the middle. You know, you dancing back and forth with them, but then they get left behind. And it's just you and the other players near the end of the path, right? And you're trying to work out who's going to go first through that door and drag other people back at the same time. So I had one 4-player game where twice people were on the verge of escaping, and they would have escaped, but I happened to play the aqua card first and was able to pull them back. They landed short of the warp gate, and next turn they had to play something near the beginning of the alphabet and just flung them back behind everything else, and I won. So hey, that was good. That didn't always happen. So it's a little strange in that the beginning of the game feels like it's not necessarily connected to the end, because there's a lot of dancing back and forth. People at the end are always going to be able to move forward towards the warp gate, because people are in front of them, closer towards that exit. Okay, so, you know, but it gives you a sense of the game. You learn the game. The first round is not necessarily that important, so maybe that's a nice feature, and that people can play and not necessarily worry about, I did the wrong thing. You're just going to learn the movement. You have to see the movement happen before you can really get an idea of how people are going to, you know, dance around that path and do that. Gravwell!